speaking all kinds of death and blaspheming all that's alive. And if it knocks at your door, show that someone's gonna die.
Woohoo!
Wait just a darn minute. I nearly forgot to tell you about my Uncle Cole. If ever there was a man to put the fear of God in you, that man was the one for the job. Yes, sir, the good Lord put him in the creation book so that one day even a preacher would fear the name he said. Uncle Cole was a unusual man who had a peculiar look about him. He lived down the road about a mile and a little bit. Never socialized much with folk. He didn't have a wife, didn't have any children, but he lived in a one-room shack, all dilapidated, which, well, I set foot in one time and swore I'd never go back there again. With all due respect, there was just something about the man gave folks around here the willies. Well, one day, he came round to visit my mama and my daddy, something he rarely ever done. And off in the east, while there was a storm a-brewing, looked like the floodgates of hell was about ready to bust wide open. Well, inside of an hour, a big old black cloud about the size of Texas rolled in on top of us, lightning and thunder and the likes of which I ain't never seen before or since. And there was Uncle Cole, standing out in the middle of that yard, shouting and shaking his fist up at the sky, and all of a sudden a lightning bolt struck him dead as dead could be. No sooner did that happen than the clouds parted. A beacon of light shone down so bright as to blind one's eyes. Uncle Cole, lifeless and charred black as night, in an instant was cleansed and made whole. Why, he sat up. He got to his feet, and he shouted with a voice louder than the thunder that struck him down, "Woe to all you sinners on that great and dreadful day!" That kind of made the hairs on the back of my neck stand straight. Darn near scared me to death. Now, Uncle Cole was never much of a church-going man, and I don't believe that he ever had a word of scripture pass his lips. And if I hadn't seen that with my own two eyes, why, you could smack me and call me a liar. I'm not sure what happened that day as he lay there in his ash. But when he got up, he was a changed man. It didn't take long for folks to hear about Uncle Cole's encounter with death. Then the rumors started to flow. And if people were spooked by this man before that time, they were downright scared of him, thinking he just might be the devil himself. Yeah. Not sure what happened to him as he lay there in that ash, but once he got up, he acquired himself quite a fiery tongue, which I find quite appropriate considering such a death-defying feat. Yes, sir, he sure was the talk of the day. And the more folks talked, the more the story changed. More the story changed, why the more unbelievable it became. To a point where 35 years later, after Uncle Cole's passing, a story that I know to be true become nothing more than just another told tale from the American swamp.
Lord.